You've seen them, right? On the wall in an office, maybe at the gym or in a school, those little boxes with a heart and a lightning bolt on them. They're AEDs, automated external defibrillators, and they are, no exaggeration, life-saving machines. But if you've ever thought, hey, we should get one of those for our workplace, you probably had another thought right after. What's the legal risk here? Well, today we're going to clear all that up.
So let's just get right to the heart of it. This is the number one question, the one thing that stops so many well-meaning people from installing an AED. Am I opening my organization, or even myself, up to some kind of lawsuit? Look, it's a totally fair question, a valid concern, and we are going to tackle it head-on. Okay, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about that initial hesitation. Then, we're going to dive right into that fear of liability and introduce the legal shield that's designed to protect you. After that, we'll cover the handful of key things you need to do as an owner. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by focusing on what this is really about, being empowered to save a life.
I mean, we all know that having an AED nearby is a good thing. It's an incredible thing. It can literally be the difference between life and death. But all that amazing potential for good often gets stopped in its tracks by one giant question mark. And it has nothing to do with the medicine, it's all about the law.
You know, this hesitation, it isn't just some vague worry. It's a whole bunch of really specific what-if scenarios that start swirling around in your head. And they can feel so big and so scary that they lead to the simplest, but also the most tragic decision of all, to just do nothing.
So what do these fears actually sound like? Well, they're probably things you've wondered yourself. What if the device just fails? Or what if, in the middle of all that chaos, I use it wrong and actually make things worse? And for businesses or community groups, the big one is, can we seriously be sued just for having this thing on our wall? And really, all of this boils down to one fundamental question. If I step up and try to help, does the law have my back?
And the answer to that last question, let me be perfectly clear, is a huge, resounding yes. And this brings us to the most important part of this whole conversation, the legal framework that was built specifically to get rid of these fears. Let's talk about the Good Samaritan shield.
At the very core of all this protection are what we call Good Samaritan laws. And the definition is just so clear and so powerful. These laws exist to give legal protection to regular people who provide reasonable assistance in an emergency. The main idea is super simple. If you act in good faith to help someone who's in trouble, the law is on your side.
And this right here, this is the key takeaway. The entire point of these laws is to encourage you, me, all of us, to act. The legal system is not trying to set a trap for you. It's building a safety net. It wants your very first instinct in a crisis to be, I need to help, not, I better hesitate.
This really lays out the massive gap between our fears and the actual reality, doesn't it? The fear in our head is screaming, I'm going to get sued. But the legal reality comes back and calmly says, no, you are protected for your good faith effort. The fear whispers, my organization is taking on a huge risk. But the reality is that these protections almost always extend to the very organizations that put the AED on the wall. Okay, so we've got our legal shield. We know we're protected. Now let's pivot from fear over to responsible action, because having that protection is linked to being a responsible AED owner. And don't worry, this isn't complicated, but it is super important. I want you to think about it like this. The law protects your intention to help. Your part of the deal is to make sure the tool you're going to use is actually ready to do its job. See? Legal protection and responsible preparation, they go hand in hand.
So what does that preparation actually look like? Well, it really just boils down to 3 simple, totally manageable steps. You got to register your device, have a basic maintenance plan, and make sure people have some training so they're comfortable with it. That's it. Let's break that down just a little. Registering your AED with local emergency services, that's huge. It means a 911 dispatcher can actually tell a frantic caller, hey, there's a defibrillator right down the hall from you. Maintenance, that's just common sense, right? You just need to check that the battery is good and the electrode pads haven't expired. And finally, training. This isn't just about ticking a box. It's about giving someone the confidence they need to actually step up and take charge in a moment of pure crisis. So let's pull all of this together. Once you really see how strong the legal protections are on one side and how simple and straightforward the responsibilities are on the other, that whole idea of risk starts to look completely different.
If you only remember one single thing from our chat today, please let it be this. The entire legal system around AEDs is built with one goal in mind: to support you. It is designed to encourage more of these devices on walls and to protect the brave people who step up to use them. The system is, without a doubt, on your side.
And this just reframes the whole idea of liability, doesn't it? The tiny legal risk of having a well-maintained AED is absolutely nothing compared to the massive moral liability of a death that could have been prevented. The law gets this. The law sides with preparation. It sides with action.
So we're going to end with a question for you. Now that you know the law is designed to protect you, not to punish you for trying to save a life, what's really stopping you from being prepared? We've taken the fear of liability off the table. The only thing left now is the decision to act.